Okay, give me 1 sec to get myself together. And away we go. Hello, everyone. My name is Gloria, and today I'll be showing you my NLP research I had fun exploring with relation to the art industry. I have an undergraduate degree in studio art as a three-dimensional painter, and I am currently in the process of getting my master's in art business and IST at CGU. This course has been really eye-opening as to the many possibilities I can further apply my expertise and knowledge in machine learning in a field that isn't really aware of how it can be utilized. I'd like to open up my project with a quote by a famous Dada artist, Marcel Duchamp. I have forced myself to contradict myself in order to avoid conforming to my own taste. It is our duty to challenge and push ourselves in order to see the many possibilities that can spark new opportunities and indifferences. This unknown territory of incorporating technological techniques into the art world should be better embraced and further explored. I decided to work from a book by David W. Jones and further explore the text. This book became my corpus subject because it focused on the Dada Art Movement that I deeply enjoy, and I wanted to further investigate the language used. This book is exploring the values, art, and politics from a time period between 1916 to 1922. A couple key points to know what the Dada Art Movement was about is that this movement started during World War I as an outrage of the many deaths happening all around them and the disillusionments that came from being in war. This movement was meant to get people to be shocked out of complacency and question the nationalist and bourgeoisie. My NLP explorative method was to focus on 32 pages of the book, which consisted of 4 chapters, a total of 37,531 words. I used the NLTK library within Python from the code that was provided from our lab assignments. Not all were applicable, so I had to research further code to address what was needed to support a thorough investigative approach. My extraction methods were to break down my text into word frequency, see which words had the highest frequency or even the lowest, sentence length. Because the text was sourcing a topic from the early 1900s, I was interested in seeing if there was a difference within the sentence structure in relation to modern times. Average word length. I wanted to have a definitive result that had a direct correlation with this movement. Stop words, to point out which words were noisy and irrelevant so I could focus more on relevant keywords. Tokenization, what words were being grouped together and could be used to point to the Dada movement. Sentiment, what can we learn from artists and poets during this time period and art movement during war? What were they trying to achieve? Could I learn more if I mirrored it next to historical data and nationalist views? These were some methods that I could further analyze after extraction, but was a start to my approach. Another important factor I saw as a supportive measure was to take advantage of visualization packages. I chose Matplotlib because I thought it would be interesting to see what part of speech words were being used and to visualize the results in a two-dimensional plot model. This could provide the many layers that make up my text file and also show word proximity to other part of speech words being used, which could lead to a predictive model. Spacey, a complement to advanced NLP, was going to process and understand my large volume of text and visualize word dependency. This could lead to the tagging of words and getting to the root of the word within the sentence and learning what the word is based on the frequency and part of speech. Now here are my results. I found a simple code to extract the n-grams, so I went ahead and extracted up to 5 n-grams. I figured if I could break down the sentence into multiple n-grams, I could then predict the surrounding words, and it could also help aid in making spelling corrections based on its probability of the word within the sentence. The two benefits of using n-grams is for simplicity and scalability. Because this was my first NLP research, n-grams seemed easy enough to implement from my text file, and I could easily understand what I was looking at. In order to look into my output of my n-grams, I transferred it into numbers to visualize all the data. I think my next step could be, after I've extracted all the n-grams, I should visualize my n-grams and rank them in a data frame based on the frequency of the word amongst all the words in my text file. This then could predict the most popular n-grams being used that I think could be very beneficial in sourcing words from this art movement. In order to get a better performance, I removed the stop words from my entire vocabulary within my text file. I feel as though I was generally successful in that I was able to examine the words considered stop words. Removing the stop words could then give me a higher accuracy for classification because the only meaningful tokens would be left. If I went further, I could also base this on a frequency measure. This would allow me to exclude them a lot easier because stop words occur more often. The assumption is based on the high frequency, where they are not the token words that I would be interested in looking at that would give depth and meaning to this art movement. Next came extracting word frequency. As you can see, this is how I was able to output word frequency while also excluding the stop words like I explained for my previous slide. I had some fun looking at my data through numbers and searched for words using the find feature. I noticed that when I looked at the numbers in relation to the word, for example, Dada, it was not taken into account a lemmatized function, which could have helped by joining words that stem from one another, such as Dada, Dadaist, Dadaism, and so on. Doing that would further condense my tokened words, thus giving me a richer data set of words that are associated with this art movement within this book. This slide shows what I had hopes of accomplishing, but under time constraints, I fell short. So hypothetically, I think once I would be able to implement this code similar to the one I show here, I would be able to chunk words and apply sentiment. The way I would have liked to see this through would have been to classify artists within this art movement and label them under Dada. This would then allow for a database to be collected of words commonly used within each art movement, thus separating or showing that overlap between them. As you can see, I used Jackson Pollock as an example because he is famously known, so I thought it would help me to better explain my theory. If Jackson Pollock was being referenced with words such as abstract expressionism, painterly, surface, oil, or masculine, he would then be populated under the time period and art movement of abstract expressionism, just as I show up top in this timeline. This would allow for even new artists to be categorized by their influences, maybe even coining new genres, which is very hard when you are living presently. To wrap up, I wanted to show you guys what is being done in the art field by using artificial intelligence. Let me show you a quick video of what this looks like so you can get a better idea where I would like to further implement NLP methods. What you have just seen is called generative adversarial networks. GAN utilizes NLP in that it's taking text and corresponding it into an image synthesis. Cool, right? This is how you could use NLP in the art world. Because this architecture is generating synthetic data along with your training data, it's able to predict an image and output that. What comes to mind is a painting made alongside a machine. Or what if a past artist who is no longer alive could somehow still create an art based on the keywords associated with them? Or maybe defining an artistic style based on the words used to describe their processes, making it easier to define an artist. I hope I was able to inspire you along my explorative research. I never knew what NLP would mean to me, and I have found many reasons now why I can't live without it. Exploring all that art data excites me because it needs this type of analysis in order for my field to grow. Thank you for your time. I've included my resources and my email. If you have any questions or projects you'd like to work on in the future, please let me know. Thanks again.